Alright guys, so I don't know how many of you have heard about this game by now. It recently surfaced earlier today or yesterday depending on where you live, although it's been rumored for quite a while at this point. Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. It is a crossover of Super Mario and Raving Rabbids. In case you don't know who the Raving Rabbids are, they are these characters from the Rayman games. They're basically like the minions from the Despicable Me movies. I want to say this was originally rumored towards the end of last year when it was revealed as Mario and Rabbids RPG. And it's like, what? Never mind the fact that Mario is having a crossover with the Rabbids, but it's also somehow going to be an RPG? Actually, scratch that. The fact that this is an RPG is not the weird part. The weird part is that this is apparently a game in which Mario is going to be using a gun. I mean, not like a bullet shooting gun, it's a laser gun, but still, what is this? It can't be real. And wouldn't you know it, as soon as the Nintendo Switch presentation happened in January, the rumors for the game pretty much stopped. But then recently, the rumors have resurfaced, and in a big way. This game was leaked. Big time. Over at Nintendo World Report, link in the description, they have uncovered these images that are assumed to be intended for the press at E3. This game was supposed to get revealed at E3, and in fact, even the promotional images say, "This is a big surprise for E3." Well, guess what? It's not much of a surprise anymore, because this is leaked. Now, I'm not going to be showing any of the promotional images directly, although I have cropped out a couple of items from those images. Over to the right above my little picture there is what is presumably going to be the official box art for the game. And over to the left is a screen cap from the game. Now the screen cap is actually really fuzzy, and that's because it's really small in the promotional image. And I have zoomed it in and stretched it and tried to sharpen it a little to the best of my ability to see if I can kind of figure out what I can grasp from looking at it, while I look at some of the information that is in the promotional images, and there's actually a lot of information. The first piece of information is actually kind of weird, kind of interesting, but mostly unusually specific. It is that the game comprises of 35% exploration and 65% turn-based combat. Once again, it should be noted that this is apparently some sort of RPG. If I'm looking at the screenshot here, I'm looking at their icons to the left, and I see what I assume to be the health of the current 3 characters on the team, and in the upper right there I see your money. It's an interesting looking place. It's like a generic sort of grasslands like you would expect from a Mario game, but a little bit oversized, because there's like that giant plant over there to the right, and to the left was those giant blue tulips, bellflowers sort of thing. Is this like Giant Land? That would be interesting. Anyway, under the exploration section, here's what it has to say. First, it says that there are 4 world environments to discover. Okay, that's actually kind of a small amount, especially if we're talking about Mario. I mean, just look at Mario 3 alone. We have grassland, we got desert, we got water, we got giant, we got sky, we got ice, we got pipes, we got the land of Bowser. That's 8 locations from one Mario game. So the fact that this game only has 4 environments to discover is kinda small. The next bit of information says that you have control of a character named Tutorio. That's Tuttorio. And it says you don't have actual direct control of the heroes. Now, given that this is talking about exploration, that doesn't really bother me too much. It just means that your lead character, I guess, is going to be Tutorio. And if I had to guess, it's probably that Roomba looking character there on the box art, towards the bottom in front of Mario. And then it also mentions puzzles and secret zones, so okay, that 35% exploration is actually going to be worth exploring, or something like that. The fact that there are puzzles to deal with is really no surprise. After all, this is a Mario RPG, and for the most part, the Mario RPGs have puzzles in them. With the exception of like the first Mario RPG, it had some puzzles, but nowhere near as many puzzles as all the other Mario RPGs tend to have. It also says, Twisted Mario's World Full of Easter Eggs. Not really sure what it means by that, aside from... well, if it has anything to do with the Rabbids, maybe it's like a parody of Mario's World. A twisted parody, twisted by the Rabbids. Like maybe we're in an alternate universe where Mario is a Rabbid. That would be interesting. Full of Easter eggs, I'm guessing that the game's going to have plenty of references towards older Mario games, as Mario games tend to do. Now let's look at the information on the combat. It says that it has unique heroes' playstyles. So each character is going to have their own sort of style, which is good. That's kind of important in an RPG. Now the next thing is where it gets interesting. Tactical options. This includes dash, team jumps, warp pipes, destructible covers, and so forth. So apparently this isn't a JRPG like the Paper Mario games or the Mario and Luigi games or the original Mario RPG. This sounds more like it would be a tactical RPG. I'm thinking something along the lines of Codename Steam or Valkyria Chronicles. Given that the information mentioned earlier that you don't have direct control of the heroes, I would assume that you just direct each hero across the map and tell them where to go. Next, it mentions upgradable and collectible weapons. Okay, that's kind of important for an RPG. I don't know why that had to be a bullet point. There's also a variety of combat objectives and contextual events. So this definitely sounds like some sort of tactical strategic RPG. You're not going to be going into a single screen battle and your goal is to just kill each of the enemies. You get to wander around the battlefields and do different things. Next is 7 enemies archetypes and 1 boss and mid-boss per world. This I'm not really sure what it's talking about. I'm guessing for the enemy archetypes it's like, so you have Goombas and the variety of Goombas, and you also have Koopa Troopas and the variety of Koopa Troopas. Those are 2 enemy archetypes right there. As for the boss and mid-boss per world, I'm guessing that's pretty self-explanatory, and given that there's 4 worlds, that means there would be 8 bosses. Assuming there's not like a secret 5th world that you unlock whenever you finish the other 4, and the 5th world is where you find the final boss. And then comes another interesting thing. Multiplayer co-op. Now, I don't know if I've ever heard of a tactical strategic RPG that is multiplayer co-op. Now, I've heard of strategy RPGs that are multiplayer, but typically you're playing against each other, not with each other. So how this is going to work, I'm not entirely sure. I will say this, you've got 8 different characters in this game. You got Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Yoshi. And then you have 4 Rabbids who are dressed as Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Yoshi. If I had to guess, you would probably have the real heroes be played as like player 1, and then the Rabbid heroes played as player 2. Or that's my guess anyway. I could be entirely wrong though. Looking at this screenshot once again, we appear to have 2 Rabbids and Mario. Regular Mario. What does this mean? I don't know. Apparently you're only going to have 3 characters on hand at one point. I don't know if that means you can only have 3 characters at a time, or if that screenshot took place before you found the other characters. I will say, though, that if you're going to be co-oping this game with someone and you only have 3 characters on your team, that's kind of a lopsided sort of co-op. So it makes me wonder if there's some other gameplay involved besides moving your characters around. Like, it mentions that there's tactical options. Maybe player 2 could be involved with, like, the placement of warp pipes or something? So some other stuff that this promotional imagery involves is like, a conservative universe? No more! This game contains humor and self-mockery. So it sounds like maybe this is going to be almost a parody of the Mario games. It also makes a big deal about the fact that Princess Peach is apparently a character who can fight with you. It's all, a distressed princess? So cliché. Self-defense kick, not saying that word. Don't swear. Again, it's interesting that this promotional material has swearing going on, given that this is still a Mario game. It would be really interesting if, like, the game, or at some point the box art even, wound up having these little swears like that. It's nothing big, there's no F-bombs being thrown around, but it's still words that you would not expect to be used in a Mario game. I do, by the way, like the fact that Princess Peach is a player character in this game, even if you don't directly control her. It's nice when Peach gets to actually help in the games. She helped in the original Mario RPG, she's helped a couple times in the Paper Mario games, and then she's also helped in a couple of the platformers, Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario 3D World. She was great in Mario 3D World. Actually, in general, whenever Peach is playable, she's awesome. I wonder if she'll wind up having the ability to jump and float in this game. I mean, given this is a Mario game we're talking about, there's gotta be some sort of jumping mechanics going on. Speaking of Peach and characters in general, like I said, this game has 8 characters, and, well, according to this image, it actually says that all of them are playable. So I guess that means in battle they're playable, even though you don't play as them outside of battle. Anyway, the characters are Mario, the leader, Luigi, the Eagle Eye, Peach, the bad princess, Yoshi, the explosive head, and then we have the Rabbids. Rabbid Mario, the Macho Man, Rabbid Luigi, the unstable, Rabbid Princess Peach, hashtag sassy, hashtag no filter, and Rabbid Yoshi, the crazy one. I don't know what makes the crazy one different than the unstable, but okay. It makes me wonder how, like, dialogue is going to play out in this game. Are all the characters going to be silent protagonists aside from some jibber-jabber like in the Mario and Luigi games? Because most of the characters in this roster don't normally talk. Or I assume they don't normally talk. I've never actually played any of the games with the Rabbids in them. I just know enough about them to compare them with the minions from Despicable Me. Anyway, the rest of the information is basically a timeline of their plans. They were planning on making this a surprise announcement at E3. Well, so much for the surprise. Apparently it would have been playable at E3 too, which sounds interesting. But that's when they would have revealed the game, and then in July is when they would try to convince the media and gamers that this is a game that they have to own. And now that I think about it, there's another screenshot in there. Hold on a sec, let me see if I can try to enhance that screenshot. Okay, well, sorry to say that this was the best I could do. This screenshot was even smaller than the last one. But you can see enough in there to kind of get an idea of what's going on. We obviously have Yoshi, who is trying to equip some sort of weapon. And I'm guessing there's like various stats there on the right. The fact that there's pictures included makes me wonder if there's like a special status effect included, or some sort of element or something. I mean, the promotional material did say that this game would have different weapons for you to collect, so this screenshot here supports that. Anyway, back to the timeline. June at E3 was supposed to be the surprise announcement. July is when they would start promoting this game and trying to convince everybody that they will want to play it. And then August and September. That's when this game is supposedly going to release. And the timeline says that they're going to go big for launch. They actually have little screenshots of 3 different magazines, one of them Game Factor, I don't know what the other 2 are, but they have magazine art of like front page covers for this game. Plus there's also a logo for Games.com, so I assume that Games.com is also going to have some sort of promotional campaign going on with this game. They're going to make a big deal about this game when it comes out. And apparently it's definitely a game that they would want to make a big deal out of, because this is interesting. My biggest question is probably in regards to the combat. It's obviously going to be tactical, but is it going to be on a character-by-character basis, or are you going to tell your characters where to go as a group? Something along the lines of Ogre Battle, for example. I'm hoping that it's a character-by-character basis, because I really don't like having no control over my characters. I mean, I will sometimes play games where it tries to control my other teammates with AI. For example, Final Fantasy XII, I don't mind it. But that's largely because you have a decent amount of control over what the AI is going to do. But for a Mario RPG, especially one where Princess Peach and Yoshi are characters on your team, I would prefer to have a more direct control over what they do. And given that this game is supposedly going to be turn-based, I would assume that you do control the characters on an individual basis, at least to some extent. Anyway, it's kind of a shame that this game was pretty much spoiled big time. It would have been kind of a big deal had this been dropped at E3. Nintendo needs some big drops at E3, and this was probably going to be their biggest drop. Hopefully, come E3, Nintendo has some other surprise announcements coming at us. Maybe Pikmin 4? Red Dead Redemption 2? Hey, one can dream. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of this little, not so much a reaction, but my thoughts on this reveal. Again, if you are interested in seeing those promotional images yourself, I've got a link to the description. Well, I don't have a link to the description. That would be kind of weird. I've got a link in the description to the article from Nintendo World Report. And by the way, I totally intend to do some reaction videos of E3. Primarily Nintendo, of course. Definitely going to react to the Nintendo Direct. And as for the Treehouse stuff, I don't know. That goes on for so long that I don't know that I'd be able to react to all of it. I might wind up doing a post-Treehouse sort of thing, if anything. But yeah, look forward to me reacting to the Nintendo Direct, and of course, look forward to this game making a surprise reveal. Don't know how much they'll reveal, given that the plans for the timeline involve really promoting this game in July, but I'm sure they'll wind up showing off a little bit of this game.